Hi everyone, this is Cindy with Twisted True Sin. How you guys all doing? This video is about Ed Gein, the Butcher of Plainfield. Warning, the following is going to be disturbing to most people. So he was born August 27th, 1906 in La Crosse, Wisconsin. He died 1984. He lived on the family farm with his father George, who was an alcoholic. His mother Augusta was a real control freak. And his older brother Henry, he was 5 years older. So Ed was really isolated, and he lived in a volatile household. His mother was religious. She didn't trust anybody, and she didn't want any outside influences on her sons. So she pretty much kept them there. She preached about the immorality of the world. She taught her sons not to trust women who, in her opinion, were all whores and prostitutes. And every day after school, she would read the Bible to her sons. He was ridiculed in school because he had really erratic behavior, like blurting out unprovoked laughter. But he was a good student, and he excelled in reading. And despite everything, his mother would punish him if he attempted to make any friends. So Ed and his brother both graduated from high school, and neither one ever moved away from home. On April 1st, 1940, George died of heart failure. So Ed and his brother started doing odd jobs in town to support their mom and the farm. They were really good workers, honest, reliable, and he was a handyman. But he also was a frequent babysitter for his neighbors, and he got along really well with children. He was really attached to his mother. He's considered a mama's boy. On the other hand, his brother Henry had met a divorced mother of two, was planning on moving in with her, and he was concerned about Ed's well-being. Ed was just hurt and shocked when Henry began talking shit about Augusta. So on May 16th, 1944, Ed and Henry are out burning brush on the farm, and the fire burned out of control. But it took all day for the fire department to put it out. Then Ed reported Henry is missing, and they put together a search party. They found Henry face down in the mud. It was ruled he died of asphyxiation from smoke. But Henry also had bruises on his head. Some people suspected Ed had murdered his brother Henry. However, foul play was ruled out. Not long after her son Henry died, Augusta suffered a massive stroke. So he devoted himself to taking care of his mother, who was paralyzed. He took his mom to town to get some straw from a guy named Smith. They witnessed Smith beating a dog to death, which was horrific. And then the mother spotted an unmarried woman coming out of the house. She called her Smith's harlot. She had another stroke, and then she passed away at age 67. Ed had lost his one and only friend. In an effort to preserve his mother's memory, he boarded up her room and others. He boarded up the entire upstairs, the parlor, and he just took up whatever space was left. And he lived in absolute squalor. He had no electricity or anything. So Ed continued doing handyman jobs, and in 1951 received a federal subsidy for the farm. He also sold off 80 acres of the farm. Some people referred to him as Weird Ed. They viewed him in town as being an oddity. Without his overbearing mother, Ed was free to read whatever he wanted, so he began buying adventure magazines and true crime magazines. He was particularly fond of stories about death, cannibalism, and the Nazis. He hired a local farmhand to help him do a job. They went to the local cemetery and dug up some bodies and brought him back to the farm. Ed told the guy he was doing experiments. When police questioned him about his late night hobby, he recalled being in a trance-like state and doesn't remember what he did. So he started dissecting bodies and collecting body parts. There's an example, a woman suit he crafted from tanned skin and that he would wear so he would become his mother. He also upholstered his chairs with human skin. There was lampshades made from skin, gloves made from skin that he sewed, and women's skulls with the tops cut off. With bones, teeth, bone fragments. Basically, he decorated whatever is left in the house with body parts. So he basically collected body parts from all of these people, mostly women, that he dug up. So if things couldn't possibly get worse, on December 8th, 1954, he murdered tavern owner Mary Hogan. At the tavern, they found a pool of blood and a .32 caliber bullet casing, but they had no leads and the case went cold. She just vanished. So some people in town suspected Ed Gein was responsible. Around the same time, people were missing. A child went missing. People did suspect him, but there was no link to any of the murders until another woman vanished. On November 16th, There was a 9-day deer hunting event. Instead of going hunting, he stayed in town. Went to the hardware store and bought some antifreeze, and he returned under the guise of trading in his hunting rifle. He shot Bernice Warner and brought her back to his farm. She's the poor woman that he strung up and gutted, and it resembled like something you would do to a deer when you go hunting. It's pretty bad. So they tracked him down because there was only one sales receipt from the store that day, and it was to him for the antifreeze. Police tracked him down to his cousin's house. They asked him a few questions, and he was arrested on the spot. So Gein denied necrophilia because the corpses smelled bad. His house had no power. There was a really strong, foul odor in his squalid house. So a deputy felt something brush his arm. It happened to be Bernice Warden's body hung upside down like a deer, which freaked him out. Ed ended up pleading not guilty by reason of insanity and was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He was found mentally incompetent and unfit for trial. Sent to Central State Hospital for the criminally insane, which is now called Dodge Correctional, which is where Chris Watts is at. He spent 11 years there. And then he was transferred to Mendota State Hospital. In '68, doctors determined he was mentally able to confer with his own counsel, so he had a week-long trial that started November 7th, 1968. His psychiatrist said he didn't remember doing anything. But the judge found him guilty of first-degree murder. He was ordered to be committed to Central State Hospital for the criminally insane, where he would spend the rest of his life. Ed Gein's farmhouse burned to the ground mysteriously 3 days before there was to be a public auction, and police suspected arson. He died at the age of 77 on July 26, 1984. That's it for me, everybody. This guy is scary as hell. Talk to you later. Bye.